What's going on, everybody? Scar Titan here once again with another episode of Smoke Signals and Side Quests. This is episode number 3. We appreciate you tagging along with us and being along for the ride. You are tuned into the Smoke Signals and Side Quests podcast that normally airs on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But there's a big event going on tomorrow. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is America's 250th birthday. So we're shooting this episode a day early so the rest of you out there can enjoy time with your friends and family, get out there, maybe do a little barbecuing, but whatever you're going to do, maybe it's some fireworks or something like that. Whatever you're going to do, be safe, have a great time. But also, let's all take a moment to recognize some of the great things that we love about this country. Don't be one of those crazy left-wing lunatics that's out there screaming their head off about how much they hate America and how much America sucks and America's the worst country on earth. America is the best country on earth. And to prove that, I'm going to bring on my first co-host today, Sergeant Grumpy Pants. How are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you?
yeah, I'm doing quite well myself.
Bully!
You look rather dapper today, sir.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. I just rode in from the colonies, and boy, is my ass numb.
Oh, man.
Really bad dad joke. Sorry.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Now, what is it exactly that you're drinking out of? I noticed you had a unique looking mug there, or would you even call it a mug?
There's a bullhorn mug, sir.
A bullhorn mug.
Bullhorn mug. Yep. Now, this is something I gained from the Renaissance Fair some number of years ago, but I figured, you know what? It looks
Is it
colonial.
historically accurate?
Probably not like my outfit, no? But you know, hey, it looks pretty cool, right? So
it looks super cool.
Just roll with that. Why not?
That's right. How was your week?
You know what? Not too bad. It was a little bit of a tearful goodbye on Monday because we had to say goodbye to the eldest daughter. Yes, it is time for her to spread her wings and leave the nest. And like every parent, we hope the little bird flies and not falls upon departure. She is gone to New Mexico State University. I won't tell you what she's studying. I won't give you her name and her age or anything like that. That'll kind of have to remain a secret. But she is literally going on to college, and we had to send her off because she had freshman orientation that was due on the 30th, which I think was Tuesday, and then July 1st, which was Wednesday. So she had to, you know, get her dorm assignment. She kind of had to get the syllabus from her classes, I guess. It's just regular, typical college stuff. But she wound up going there, and she was there with her father. And so they palled around a little bit. And we heard from her a couple of days ago. Actually, she had a really good time. She found out about a program that the school offers for overseas learning. And a few of the places.
So she wants to study abroad?
I mean, I would if I were her. I mean, I'm all about people broadening their horizons, leaving the country of your birth to really get a sense of appreciation for how awesome America actually is when you're living in places like Italy, Korea, Japan, France, Germany, to name a few, right? And these are a couple of places that she mentioned that were on the list where this college would potentially send her so she could study abroad. I was all for it. I said, you know what, kid, if you're going to do it, right? You're only young once, you only live once, you only have one life, so you might as well make it a happy one. And if I'm all for anybody that gets to throw themselves heavily into the culture of another country, like really immerse yourself. And you can, if you can, and you have time, if you're going to be there for longer, like typical vacation, more than 2 weeks, right? If you're going to be there for quite some time, really try to assimilate, right? Really try to assimilate. That's what I hope for when people come here as immigrants, okay? This is America. You can still have the pride of the country that you left, your heritage and all that stuff. You can have all that, right? Your cuisines, your traditions, have all that. But when you're in America, try to assimilate to become an American. Really, really try to ingrain yourself into becoming what this country is. It's the melting pot, right? Which is why probably a lot of people say, oh, maybe that's why we have so many problems. Yeah, it's definitively why we have so many problems, because you have so many people from different backgrounds coming all together, and you know,
and nobody wants to assimilate. Everybody wants to bring their culture over here and have their culture be the standard for what the West should be.
Exactly. And that's not what should be happening, in my opinion. Okay, just my opinion. But but that's one thing that she learned that was really cool. And then the rest of the week has just kind of been a blur, really, just kind of getting ready for today, ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big 250 for America, man.
Yes.
I'm excited. We may or may not have a small munitions depot in my garage of I confirm nor deny that information, but they're firecrackers. Whatever this state allows is what I have legally.
That's it. And nothing more.
Nothing more, sir. That's it. How was your week so far? What are you getting into?
My week's been good. It's been kind of quiet. Not a lot going on this week. I think everybody's just kind of looking forward to having the weekend to spend some time, whether it's barbecuing or setting off fireworks. So I did have some time to catch up on a couple of movies and TV shows this week. So I spent some time just watching that. But all in all, it was a very, very low key, not much going on this week. And I kind of like that. It's nice to have those weeks every once in a while where it's just not quite as hectic or chaotic. But I don't know that I can say the same thing for our next co-host here. So I'm going to bring to stage Mr. Red Beard Riot. How are you, sir?
I'm really good. As you can see, I actually have prepared my very own patriotic getup. I was actually born for this. You see, I made sure that my beard was totally red.
Yes.
And I've got all of this white in here.
Ooh.
And I've got these stunning blue eyes. So
Yes.
I am patriotic to the core.
Good for you. Good for you. And good for you.
That's
this
right.
is nothing else to say on that. This week has been brutal. It's been brutal. I mean, not bad. Just from the moment we left the studio last Sunday until right this very second, has been on. It's everywhere. Just
do you need a shoulder to cry on, buddy?
Hardly a spare moment to sit down and just
breathe.
Hang out. I did have one spare moment actually. This afternoon I was out dropping off the trailer for another rental, and I stopped along the side of the highway because I was just like, oh, that's cool. Let me stop along the side of the highway and just enjoy this for a second. So I was just like, you know what? Stop.
That's literally off the side of the highway?
Just right off the side of the highway.
Holy shit.
Right on the
beautiful.
highway. Had a second to just take it in, chill.
That
you know
really is quite pretty.
Let's share
a lot of waterfalls. Very nice.
North Dakota, the Maple State. Love it.
That's actually all the same waterfall, but
different angles through the trees.
You. I've tricked you.
I see you went to go get a shot through the trees there.
That's right. That's right. We had to do all that good stuff. But yeah, man, I've been anxiously anticipating. Obviously, 4th of July is coming up. Tomorrow we are gonna get some of the family together. We're gonna head out to the park. We're just gonna hang out. And I love 4th of July. I mean, who doesn't love blowing shit up? I mean,
I know a certain group of people that like blowing shit up, but I don't think it's in the name of the 4th of July.
Well, no, this is a celebration, not
that's true.
You know what I always found fascinating is the state of California is highly regulated on so many things, specifically aerial fireworks. And every year without fail, there's always illegal aerial fireworks that people manage to smuggle in.
It's why we have fires. That's why we have the wildfires that we do.
California on the 4th of July is a war zone. There's no getting past it. You ever see you'll see like drone footage or like helicopter footage up above LA, and it's everywhere.
And it's not.
I mean, it's cool.
I mean, it's the worst. I don't want to say the worst. It's the most prevalent on the 4th, but it goes on probably
it's a week before and
or two.
after.
Yep.
Yep.
Leading up to the 4th, and then for like the next 2 weeks after the 4th,
Yep.
it's nothing but nonstop fireworks and everybody setting off whatever they had left over. So
Yeah,
do you guys have to
pretty crazy.
Hate it.
Do you guys have to play the game like guessing? Is that a Roman candle or a 9mm? What is it?
Just wait to see what comes down.
Take cover.
That's right. Well, glad you're here with us. Hopefully, you get some time to relax and rest this weekend.
It'll be tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, good. But
Are you smoking?
Who?
You?
Yeah.
Where? All right, there you go.
All right,
Right here.
Make sure
He's on camera. It's one of those things. If it didn't
Right
see
here
a
in my
picture of it,
room.
did it actually happen?
That's right. Make sure. Well, gentlemen, let's go ahead and transition into our first segment. But before we do that, just a reminder, if this is your first time stopping in and hanging out with us, you have found the Smoke Signals and Side Quests podcast. We air this contrary to today, we air this every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on YouTube. You can catch the audio version the following day on Amazon Music and Spotify. We're working on getting that up to Apple Music as well. So for those of you folks who like the Apple Music, you'll be able to catch us over there as well. So more to come on that soon. But let's go ahead and get into our first segment we love to call the Burn Line.
That goes hard.
It goes so hard.
Like
That's what I love
Odyssey.
about it. So, gentlemen, I did mention at the start of the show that I had the opportunity to catch up on some entertainment this week. And earlier this week, I actually posted a short to the channel about a movie that had come out within the last couple of weeks called Citizen Vigilante. Have you... Don't all speak up at once. It's okay to... Yep, we've heard of it.
Well, your audio cut out there for a second. I was like, what are you doing?
I was going to say, yeah, what happened?
Sorry.
What are you doing? No,
Sorry.
No, I have not yet had the opportunity to see the movie. I probably will get there. But I'm seeing commentary all about it all over the internets. And, I mean, it looks interesting. It also looks, I'll reserve judgment until I see the movie, but
sure,
I have not yet.
Okay. And so are you familiar with the actor who stars in this film, Armie Hammer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Armie Hammer's been in a few films up to this point. I think his, Hollywood career was kind of put on hold rather abruptly right around the time he was starting to gain some fairly decent notoriety in the business. He was in movies like The Social Network, where he played the twins. And he's had a couple of other prominent movie roles here and there. But
he's kind of I don't want to call him a one-trick pony, but his characters are generally kind of like the same guy, right?
Yes. Now,
even the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when I posted this short at the beginning of the week, I had not yet seen the movie, and I did mention that during the short. I'll go ahead and I'll play that for you now. A movie that just dropped called Citizen Vigilante, and it's starring Armie Hammer. Now, this movie is going super viral. It's got millions of views, and even Elon Musk himself allowed this movie to be run on his platform for free. If you wanted to view it there for about 48 hours, you could go over to X and check out the movie for free. Now, nothing against the folks that made this movie. I think the premise of this movie sounds super interesting. Full disclosure, I have not seen this movie, and I'm going to tell you why, and I haven't landed on whether or not I'm going to go out and see this movie. I think for the most part, the premise of this movie, I can see why it has mass appeal, especially given everything that's going on in our political landscape today. What I have a problem with is just how quickly those of us have seemed to forgot why Armie Hammer disappeared from public life and from Hollywood to begin with, we get this really weird case of amnesia when somebody works on a project or makes a film that appeals to one side of the audience. Now, again, it's not just on the right. I've seen people on the left do this as well, but Armie Hammer was basically exiled from Hollywood for sharing cannibalistic fantasies. He actually had sent a text message to a woman he was dating in which he described a fantasy where he would eat one of her ribs.
Who doesn't? Come
Now,
on.
I don't know if Mr. Armie Hammer has gone out and gotten any kind of help, if he's gone and sought therapy. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and I said, the last I had heard prior to Citizen Vigilante, he was actually working a regular 9-to-5 job. His entire family disowned him.
It's just like you and me.
People are saying, oh, this is his big
Just another guy.
Forgive me, I'm a little bit skeptical about jumping on that train so quickly. I think the right did this a little bit too much with Ye, with Mr. Kanye West, and we all saw how that turned out. I'm not convinced that this guy has changed his ways. And when it comes to things like cannibalism, I'm perfectly okay taking my time and seeing if this man has actually made a change. What do you think? Comment down below. Now, I don't know if you gentlemen had a chance to read the comments in
Oh yeah,
the chat of the video. But and there were a few comments, and for the record, I have since seen the movie, and I can provide a little bit of an update on that here shortly. But for the context of that particular video that I uploaded earlier in the week, the conversation was not about the movie. It was not a critique of the movie. And I saw people commenting that on the video, well, you haven't even seen the movie and you're making...
It was Thunderdome, bro.
Exactly.
It was going nuts.
yeah.
Yes. And again, the critique was never about the movie. The critique was about the person they cast in the movie, which I also think probably was a somewhat strategic move on behalf of Uwe Boll, who is the person who is responsible for making the movie Citizen Vigilante. But the conversation I was trying to create, gentlemen, was actually one around, should we be able to separate the artist from the art? And that's what I was hoping would get picked up on there. And there were a couple of people, to their credit, that actually caught on to that. But I want to make sure that I'm being clear. There's so many great works of art out there, whether it's movies, music, actual physical art, paintings, things like that, that are done by some truly awful people. Right. And so should we be able to enjoy the art, even if it's created by somebody that is truly awful? And then where does that cross the line, especially with artists who are still creating today, in terms of support? Because if you're consuming that art, then you're essentially supporting that person, at least financially, with your dollar. So Red Beer Ryan, I'll turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on separating the art from the artist?
I don't, you really can't. I mean, what I mean to say is, you can find anything crappy about anybody, right?
Sure.
If there's a standard, if there's a morality standard that gets applied to, any one of us, well, I think we're all cooked, boys. There's a ton of examples, and I would have to bet that anybody that you might look into in Hollywood has probably got all sorts of weird skeletons in their closet, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, you know what? One of my favorite artists growing up, and even till today, is Garth Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Garth Brooks, notorious for cheating on his wife. I've even seen some conspiracy theories out there that Garth Brooks might be a serial killer.
Yes.
Which, oh boy,
I've seen those too.
Go down the rabbit hole. But
He's got friends in low places.
yeah, no kidding. but the art that he makes, the music that he makes, is still enjoyable. You still listen to it. You still like it. And I would say, the same thing is probably true here. If you're a big Armie Hammer fan, or if you're even interested in the subject matter of the movie, okay, go see the movie.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If we're gonna say, oh, I'm not gonna see that because this guy's a bad person, what? We'll never see any movies ever at all.
Well, then I guess the question is, Sergeant Grumpy Pants, how bad would a person need to be before you decided you wouldn't support the art or consume the art?
Oh my gosh. I mean, pretty bad, but I mean, if you think about it, who invented Volkswagen?
Yes.
And how many people are driving around in Volkswagen Bugs, Jettas?
He didn't invent
Passats?
it. He didn't invent it.
What did he have affiliated with it?
He is somewhat widely credited for the introduction of the Autobahn, which
Sure.
we have modeled in our country as our modern day interstate.
Freeway.
So, I mean, are we going to say we're not going to drive on the interstate because it's the brainchild of Mustache Man?
And that's a very, very good point. So I don't know, man. Like, I guess it just comes down to exactly. I think it just comes down to your personal preference, how you want to view things. Listen, I come at it from, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Would I want my indiscretions and faults held against me for the rest of my life? No. Because, you hope someone would learn from their mistakes, grow and adapt and move on and become a better version of themselves than what they once were. Sure. I don't know.
The chat makes a decent point here.
Go ahead.
One of the comments there is the art has to be good enough to overlook it. Which here's a famous example. Roman Polanski was accused of some quite heinous things back in the day, and Hollywood really paid no attention to any of that. They just went on celebrating him, right. And I'm sure there's Academy Awards and all this kind of stuff, and
wasn't Roman Polanski married to Sharon Tate, the one that was killed by the Manson family murders?
I think so.
Like 69, August of 69.
Yeah. But
yeah,
if you're making good art, Pablo Picasso was a little bit of a psychopath, and I think he ended up being murdered by somebody for some of the things that he was doing. And maybe that's all subjective, and maybe that's a deep pull from the past. Maybe you give a crap about Pablo Picasso, but there's no denying that he's recognized as one of the master painters of the time period.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, and Sergeant Grumpy Pants, you were briefly talking about that, where you were saying that it would have to be pretty bad, and that you're hoping that your past transgressions are not something that are held against you, in the future. And while I understand that, I think my biggest hang up with this initially is that of course, none of us are perfect.
Sure,
we all make mistakes. But how somebody lands on a fantasy that you're eating other people's body parts, that's where you have a tendency to lose me. Like, that escapes. And look, I mean, some of the comments were, I don't even want to read them in here because I don't want to risk us getting the episode banned. But some of the comments in there were pretty crazy. I mean, even people saying, like, I don't care if he's a cannibal or not, the movie's great. And then I wonder too, like, can the artist hurt the art, right? Where, you've got somebody that is done something that is way out of left field or truly horrible. And I'm not saying Armie Hammer's done anything truly horrible. But what I am saying is, like, can that have a tendency to distract from the art itself?
Well, I think in this particular case, it almost feels as though this particular guy, Armie Hammer, was picked specifically for controversy.
Absolutely.
I think there was. It seems almost like it was intentional to have a controversial figure in a controversial movie, and just for the idea of hitting that nerve at the right time. It's like there are certain things that enter into the cultural zeitgeist just no problem, just they go viral, right?
Right.
And so something like this is one of those things where it's the subject matter, it's the controversy, and it's on a lot of people's minds these days, right? And that's sort of the formula. It's almost like you make this movie knowing that somebody is going to ban it and knowing that that's going to put eyes on it, right? So it touches a nerve that is very much sort of in the forefront. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, who was the guy, Oliver Anthony, who he's just total unknown, this kind of like West Virginia coal mining guy. He's standing out in the middle of the woods with his guitar and he's singing his song, and it just it blew up. It went like crazy viral just overnight. And it was just that, at that time, this was sort of right in the middle of like the Biden years, and gas was, even, was expensive, and the economy was kind of depressed and all this kind of stuff. And it was just that touching of that nerve, talking about, man, I'm busting my ass. I can't get ahead anywhere. The government's over here doing whatever they're doing and taken from me and given to these other people who, are not contributing, all this kind of stuff. And boom, that movie went super viral. I would even argue that probably Trump's first run in 2016, a lot of people, you look at that and you go, why did he gain the notoriety that he did? Why was he the one who, shot to the top of the pack? And, probably one side of the aisle is going to say, oh, well, it's because, all the hate that he was spewing, and, Americans, they're also hateful and they're also racist and bigoted and all that other kind of stuff. And it's like, no, he was doing the same thing. As he was capitalizing on that nerve that a lot of the things that he was saying resonated with a lot of people, and he was just right out in your face and saying it. You know what I mean? And so that was sort of that viral moment that took him and moved him into like sort of the lead position, I guess you would say. And so it's all these things. It's this combination of, relevancy that makes these things go viral.
Yeah. You did say also
whether or not the person is quote unquote a good person, or
right.
You know what I mean? Like Trump's got all sorts of flaws. You know what I mean? But he was touching a nerve that resonated with a lot of people.
Right.
Well, you did say in your video also that there was a certain part that happens with the general public of, well, any country and population of people, really. Oh, amnesia sets in. We tend to forget things as time goes by. And I'll try to keep this very, very brief and relevant to the actor side of it. Armie Hammer made comments about some sort of BDSM, wanting to eat a girl's ribs, blah, 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 right? Was there ever was there ever enough substantial evidence to convict him of anything that was required, like to be imprisoned or charged with a crime? No, nothing like that ever came about. But then we look at other actors who have been charged, aka Robert Downey Jr., who have gone to jail for things that they were convicted of, like the actual convicted criminals. And then enough time passes, and then all of a sudden,
Charlie Sheen. He's another one.
They're the embodiment of Tony Stark. They are raised and exalted to this level of awesomeness in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everybody kind of forgets what happened X amount of years ago. If you want to stick the political side of it, another part of it, 9/11. Look what happened with the terrorist attacks. And all of a sudden, now they've elected a Muslim socialist as a mayor of that exact city. Enough time goes by, people. And what was the saying? Lest we forget. Right? It
Well,
depends, I
never
guess, on
forget for
right.
Yeah,
Never
right.
forget, right? But there are. I agree with that part of your video where people just forget. They just move on with their lives. The sun will rise tomorrow, maybe. As far as I know, it will. Hasn't stopped rising since.
Yeah,
Enough
I
time goes
think
by.
I think a lot of people were caught up on the premise of this movie and what this movie was about, and that's where I feel a lot of forgiveness was being made for Army Hammer, because the message of the movie to a lot of people was more important than the controversy of the actor. So
You could have put anybody in it.
correct, right? And so I did get a chance to see the movie, and the message of the movie centers a lot around um, both migration and a lack of assimilation and illegal migration, specifically in Europe. But it does talk about, very briefly about how this has the potential to
It's
impact
not irrelevant here.
correct other parts of the globe, right? And so it does, and it is I'm going to tell you this, it is a very violent, graphic movie. So if you have small children, this is not the kind of movie you want to watch with children in the room.
You mean
Very,
it's not
very, very
streaming on
graphic.
Disney Plus?
It's
No.
not going to stream on Disney Plus. No. And so I did, I did watch the movie, and I agree that the message is important. I think I think the impact of the message for this movie would have been,
Does it end up overshadowing whether or not it's a good movie?
no, it doesn't overshadow whether or not it's a good movie, but there are two distinct points in this flick that overshadow the message that the movie is trying to tell. And I think if they had taken out those two scenes in the movie, then the message of the movie would have landed better and resonated, I think, with more people. But there were two particular scenes in the movie that, if you're a normal person with a normal brain and heart, and you watch that, you're like, "Ooh, okay, like this is where I'm going to get off the train."
A
Like
little bit.
I can't support that. I understand why this individual is doing what he's doing, but this right here, I can't support that. Once
From
you
what
start
I've
crossing that,
from what I've heard about it, is that his character is really being portrayed as more of an anti-hero, right? Like
100%,
he's not
absolutely.
a good dude.
He's not a good dude.
He's got a lot of flaws, and he's probably not somebody who you want to send your kids to his Leering Center or anything like that. But
right.
It almost makes me wonder, like, maybe that's a little bit intentional. I have to imagine that the director, or the people that are making this movie probably don't want to go as far as to portray this person as a sympathetic figure, right? Because it is a tricky subject matter to deal with when you're talking about vigilantism, right?
Sure.
It's not comic books, it's not Batman.
Right.
We're portraying this as very real world and very relevant real world to some of the issues that we deal with today, and almost wonder if this film isn't put out there as almost like a warning, almost like a, hey, you guys who are in charge, we don't want to see this type of stuff happening, but be prepared within the way that you've been managing things. You've brought millions of people who are of different cultures, and they're not assimilating, and there's this friction, there's this tension. If you continue to do this, we're going to see violence, and
Right.
we don't want that. We don't want this violence.
Right. In the comments, Scott the Robot says he's closer to Patrick Bateman than the Punisher. I would go so far as to say, when you think of a vigilante, one of the most popular comic book vigilantes that comes to mind is probably Batman, right?
Sure.
Batman
Right.
is 100% a vigilante. But Batman draws very distinct lines between good versus evil, and
He
there
wrestles with himself about whether or not he's an evil character.
Exactly. But he never, well, I'm not going to say never, because there's certainly different iterations of Batman throughout the comics. But if we're talking about, Batman more generally speaking, he almost never crosses that line to become what it is he's fighting against. And so without giving away spoilers, I'll say that. And I think that for me, that's where some of the messaging around this movie was a little lost, because I hear people saying, oh, we need somebody like this in the UK, or we need somebody like this in the United States. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no, this is not the kind of person you want running around serving up their own brand of justice.
Right. Well, I mean, it's absolutely contrary to the organization of our civilization. Right.
Yeah. Any form of vigilantism is illegal. Any form.
Yes,
even in the comic books.
They touch on that point very hard in that movie.
Yeah, even in the comic books, there was I remember reading it as a young lad, where Bruce Wayne was at law school and he was sitting there arguing with his law professor, and he didn't like what the law professor was saying, and he basically said, "But is that justice?" And the law professor said, "No, Mr. Wayne, that's the law." See, justice and the law, two different things.
Right. And this particular character in the movie does draw distinctions between those two, because he approaches the victims and he asks them, do you want justice?
Right.
That's what he asked. Or do you feel justice was served? Yeah. And if they say no, or yes, I want justice, then he kind of goes out and he does his thing. And that's kind of what the movie centered around.
What he do.
He do what he do. But
basically frontier justice.
Frontier justice. That's right. I do recommend the movie. Ultimately, I think if you're on the fence about watching it, you can certainly find it. It's on several different platforms now, but it's worth a watch. It's a relatively short movie too, so you're not going to be spending a ton of time sitting in front of the TV. I think it starts and it ends like on the note that it should. It doesn't overstay its welcome, is basically what I'm trying to say. So it gets in and gets out once it's kind of made its point, which I appreciated. It didn't drag the whole thing on, but I appreciate the dialogue around this, gentlemen. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. You have found the Smoke Signals and SideQuest podcast. We air every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on YouTube. You can catch the audio-only version the following day on Amazon and Spotify. We're working on getting this up on Apple Music soon, so more to come. But let's get on with our next segment, gentlemen, and celebrate the 4th of July.
That's right.
America's 250th birthday.
America. I love it. Oh, everything about America. Maybe not everything about America, but yeah, the history is definitely very rich, and I love it. It's so great. So great. America's 250th. Boys, what's it mean to you to be an American alive, celebrating the 250th? What's it mean to you?
That's everything.
It's awesome.
Anything and everything. Do you like the country where you live?
Absolutely.
I haven't left, so I must like it.
Let me ask an interesting question. Have either of you left the borders of your home native country of the United States?
No, I've never been outside of the U.S.
Not even Mexico by accident?
That'd be the last place I'd go.
Why? It's so great.
Sure.
I love this country so much. I'm never leaving. I'm not even going to go outside the borders.
There you go. Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what you like what you know, right? You're comfortable, and that's nothing wrong with that.
I will travel eventually. I jest, but I have not traveled abroad yet. But
Do you have a
this is
dream
the
sheet?
greatest country.
Like
I do
where
that next year.
go?
We're definitely doing Japan.
Ooh,
I
good
will.
choice.
I'll say this: I will only travel to other countries that are known for being American friendly. That doesn't mean that
Westernized countries.
for the most part, yeah, I'm willing to step out of the comfort zone a little bit. Again, as long as I'm not putting my family
So you don't want to
or
go to
my
Yemen,
fiance in danger. No, I'm not going to go to Yemen. You know, those days are
Iraq?
riding that wave are long gone.
Oh,
No.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But Japan for sure next year.
Nice. How about you, Redbeard? Any dream sheets? If you could travel abroad, let's say all expense paid trip, where would you go if you could just pick like anywhere on the map?
there's a ton of places that I would probably like to go. I definitely would like to go and see some of Scotland.
Oh, good choice.
Maybe some of Ireland. Norway, I think, would be cool. Even some Iceland, which is maybe a little bit off of the standard itinerary, but
Iceland is Europe's best kept secret, buddy.
I've
It's a
I've
good
I've
choice.
I've I've seen pictures. The people seem cool as hell, and it should be like I'm a little bit more of like an off the beaten path kind of guy, right? So, the idea of going to visit London, it doesn't do anything for me. You talk about go to Paris, and I'm like, tourist
Paris
hell.
is a
Okay,
shithole right now.
yeah,
Anyway,
no,
The way it
like,
looks now, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
and so a lot of these places that are, I'd love to go to Alaska. I know that's not outside of America, but
Military
um,
considers it an overseas.
right. So a lot of stuff like that. A lot of stuff like that. Japan wouldn't be bad. Australia would be cool.
Yeah.
God, if I ever go to Australia, I'm never coming back. That's a long ass flight.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify one thing too. When I said that Paris is a shithole right now, I mean it in the same way that I would say Santa Monica is a shithole right now.
Right.
Right? You know, you see Santa Monica in the movies on TV, and it looks like this beautiful, picturesque, beach where there's people just jogging and families out and about. When in reality, it's covered with feces and
Needles
homeless
and
individuals and needles. The same way that kind of Paris has taken a turn. Also, largely due in part to some of the migration they've had out there, and so I just don't. And until Paris cleans up their act, until the European countries start cleaning up their act, I have no desire to travel out there.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, especially since all the good stuff you're probably seeing is probably AI generated right now at this point. In time
Sure.
anyways, 'cause there's probably more bad than good. So I feel
in
you on
any
that.
place that I would go would be off the beaten track. Like I said, it wouldn't be London.
Vietnam, would you go there?
I'd go to Vietnam.
Perhaps.
That look on your face, like
Maybe I'll take Redbeard with me.
It's
We'll go.
not on. It's not on
Yeah.
the top of the list.
No. But if somebody said, "Hey, you want to go to Vietnam?"
But you know where we all want to go is Thailand, right, guys?
mm, Southeast Asia, also known as Freaky Deaky Sex World.
Oh, that's also.
I don't think the
that's also at the
fiance is
bottom of the
gonna
list.
sign off on that one.
Right. Well, you may notice my attire, gentlemen. I am dressed as
I
Didn't see it.
Yeah,
No?
didn't even notice.
No?
What are you
look
doing?
the same.
the cravat. No, the nothing. You guys didn't notice what I'm wearing? The attire
Not at all. No, you look completely normal.
That was a BAFTA get up.
of the colonial era time frame, so to speak. Well, I was debating whether or not I was going to wind up doing this segment with some type of accent. Then I had to look into that. America's 250th. It's kind of important that we know the history of these things, linguistically speaking, so to speak. And
Sure.
I went down a rabbit hole here for the 250th. I just wanted to look up some things American related, so to speak, on the topics of accents. Because there's that new movie that came out by Angel Studios, the same Angel Studios that did The Chosen. They released that George Washington movie.
Oh,
the
they got George Washington, right?
Yeah, and I think there was a thing all over social media lately. It was like, hey, if you're a veteran, you can go see it this weekend on 4th of July for free or something like that, which I thought was pretty cool, but it's not going to make a lot of money if you're just handing out free tickets, right?
Sure.
So, But I noticed that a few of the actors wind up speaking with a form of a British accent. And the British accent that we all know and love today is actually called, does anybody know? It's 2 initials, RP. Does anybody know what that stands for?
Really
No?
popular?
I don't think I can say that on YouTube.
The British accent that we know and love today is known as received pronunciation. Now,
It would be
pronunciation-
something like that.
It would be something like that. It would have to be
Friggin-
something like that.
Friggin' Brits.
Is
But
that
the
what they
modern-
would consider the Queen's English?
Exactly, where we wind up dropping the hard R, so to speak. And
Yeah, we do.
I want a bottle of water, at the end of it.
Oh,
I'm gonna park my car, so to speak.
Okay.
The English accent. So they drop that. Well, Americans and everyone that came here during the colony time period, so to speak, we all spoke with a rhotic language. Rhotic, meaning we have a hard R. We said things like the bar, the tavern, not the
Mhm.
tavern. The bar. Treasurer. We had hard R's in there. So everyone's accent usually was more American sounding than actual. And the reason why is because received pronunciation actually developed in the south of England during their Industrial Revolution time. It was the latter part of the 18th century, which is around 1760 to 1840, I think, is what I looked up. And with that being said, it wouldn't have been here in America, especially during the revolutionary time frame. Everything for the received pronunciation would have been strictly to England. And the reason why it developed is because during their Industrial Revolution, the people that came from lower class, right, as they made their wealth, they wanted a way to distinguish themselves from the class that they then surpassed, right? And now they're, brought up. So they started dropping that hard R. So they started speaking with what is called a non-rhotic linguistic language, right? The British sound that we all
You're
know and
getting
love
me
today.
there already. Keep going.
Right. Hard R. It's called received pronunciation. And so that wouldn't have been around during the revolutionary time frame. So everybody who speaks usually would sound like what we are speaking now. Now, there may be muddled Scotch and Irish in there because, you had immigrants coming from there as well. And their accent really didn't change, whether it was from them getting off the ships and coming here or it's the Irish, where's the best place to plant potatoes, that type of accent could have been muddled in with an American one, but ultimately the British and the English sounded very similar because we all pronounced with a rhotic language. The hard R was there, which I found very, very fascinating. And according to Cambridge history, like I said, the people that were born into lower classes just needed a way to distinguish themselves because they elevated their status. So that's when it became like the King's English, so to speak. That I found very interesting. And it's also very interesting. In 1913, a playwright named George Bernard Shaw wound up writing a play. It was called
Jerk.
He is such a douche. He wrote the play Pygmalion, which would also be the later inspiration for the 1956 stage play, and then later the actual theatrical movie musical My Fair Lady, which starred Audrey Hepburn. So that's a little fun factoid right there for your brain. So it kind of, to summarize that, is if you're watching anything that comes from, say, the American Revolution timeframe or before, people that are going around saying, "Oh, well, the king's taxes should be obeyed," and the British bulldog, so to speak. No, that's not how they would sound. That's not how they would have sounded, so to speak. According to historical
you can't
linguists,
have a villain in a movie without that accent.
I mean, it's kind of a staple, really. I mean, if you think of it, you look at James Bond villains; they're either British or they're Russian, right? Like it's one of the two. I don't think we've ever hit like a Somali James Bond bad guy yet, but
Got some German ones in there too, just for good flavor,
Yeah, for sure.
Sprinkle in a little German.
And then getting around to that time frame, so the American Revolution, right? This is what we're celebrating. It's the 4th of July. This is how the country was born, right?
What you're saying is that they all sound more like Mel Gibson than they do.
Right. They would sound more like Mel Gibson than
your hoity-toity
exactly.
British,
right? And there is George Washington crossing the Delaware. And there's a lot of fun facts about this. I believe Cigar Titan has one about this boat specifically, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, sir?
I do, actually. One of my distant relatives was on that boat with George Washington when we did a genealogy search and traced our lineage back. We ended up finding out that one of our very, very distant relatives, was actually on the boat with George Washington.
Is it the guy right behind him holding the flag going, damn it, I wish I had a gun instead of this stupid flag bearer responsibility?
I'm not sure which one it was, but because, and again, I don't know how historically accurate each individual is on this boat outside of Mr.
Sure.
Washington himself. But yes, we were able to actually find some.
The original version of this painting, the guy who's holding the flag, he's actually got the bunny ears up behind Washington.
And you just have to rotate the camera angle.
That makes me think that probably is your ancestor.
Yeah, that's probably him.
Yeah. He's either giving the bunny ears or the meat gazer sign, right? Like,
that's right.
There it is.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, the American Revolution, as some may or may not know, here's a little history for you. Started when an attempt to disarm the Americans went badly, thus leading to the first battles of the American Revolution in Lexington and Concord in April of 1775, not 1975.
Shot heard around the world.
Exactly, the shot heard around the world, and that's basically what it was. And the end of the Revolutionary War happened technically, I think, in 1783 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. I think so. Is that, if I'm not mistaken? Or it could be earlier in 1781 when Washington and the Continental Army decisive victory over Great Britain to negotiate the end of the war led to King George's surrender at the siege of Yorktown in 1781. Yeah, 1781 in Yorktown. So fun little factoids right there as to when it started, why it started, and kind of how it ended. It's a very long war, obviously, 1775 to 1783 technically. With this signing of the Treaty of Paris.
About why I might not necessarily go outside of the country, at least not for a while, because there's a lot of this American history that I would actually like to go and see.
America's chock full of it, sir.
I've been a few times to the East Coast, and the difference between the East Coast and the West Coast is night and day.
Have you seen Gettysburg?
I haven't, and I haven't been able to see any of like the Revolutionary sites or any of the Civil War sites. But that would be high on the list of stuff that I would go and check out.
It's amazing how much history is just here. And I get it. We are only 250 years old as a country from the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But
it's a big country.
It's a big country with a lot of history that expanded, a lot of bloody conquest and a lot of treaties signed and a lot of land purchased for, what seems like in today's dollars, next to nothing. But you got to charter in inflation what that would have been in today's dollars, obviously. But it's a beautiful sentiment to know that this country was founded by people who just simply were just fed up. They were done. And it was over like a 2% tax increase back then too, right? Look at what we got going on right now in this day and age with taxes increasing and all this stuff. And yet we're still just sitting here taking it on the chin. Do you think our forefathers, either you gentlemen chime in, do you think our forefathers would look back at us and be like, what are y'all doing? Why are you tolerating this? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
Well, here's maybe a little bit of a misconception. And I was looking into this a little bit the other day, and the presenter was talking about how armed conflict was not what we were trying to do. We were really trying to avoid the armed conflict. And
our case.
The thing of it is that, the men that we now understand as the founding fathers, these were wealthy men who had things quite good. And it wasn't really super duper beneficial for them to do an armed conflict.
Right.
No.
And realistically,
it would have hurt their pocketbook.
Right. They had everything to lose. As soon as they declared independence, they were labeled obviously traitors to the crown, which comes with a penalty. and that penalty, oftentimes in those times would extend to your family and to your children.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was not something that they wanted.
Right.
It was
100%.
almost something that was they were. You call it right place, right time, but they were pushed into this.
100% correct. They were literally seeking peace through any means necessary. And then when it just hit a boiling point, you got to come to blows, right? That's the only thing that the crown would understand at that point in time. And it's unfortunate that it came out, but was it? Because look at what transpired. Look what came of it, right? Men with pitchforks who were willing to stand up and do what they thought was morally right. They were obligated in order to try to make it better, not just for themselves, but for their future generations. We knew America wasn't going anywhere at this point in time, even if it was separated into 13 colonies, right? We knew it was going to grow, or they knew it was going to grow. They knew it was going to get bigger and better. So at that point in time, but the best part about what you just said was they sought peace. But even though war was looming on the horizon, that's why, if you could bring up that bald eagle great seal picture that I have there, sir. That's right. The bald eagle. Very recognizable, right? It's the great seal of the United States of America. A little bit of breakdown about this. Bald eagle was chosen, not just because we call it the freedom chicken, the seagull on steroids, the glorified buzzard, or the gladiator pigeon.
No.
Nope. He's literally a symbol of peace, but through strength, if need be. Now, if you look at it, it's holding an olive branch in the right talon, if you're his right. And what does the olive branch signify, right? Peace. And its face is facing towards that because that's what it wants to do first. It wants to seek peace first, regardless. But in the other hand, if not, you have 13 arrows in the other hand, which is signifies the 13 colonies. We will fight if need be, if provoked, if pushed hard enough. That's what we will wind up doing. Strength through peace, or peace through strength. I think that's what I meant to say. But one way or another, that is it.
And don't touch the boats.
And don't touch America's boats. Good Lord. Who is it that always says don't touch the boats? Is that the fat electrician?
The fat electrician. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Hold on. I have something that just interrupted the entire call. That is so weird. I apologize for that. So we literally have, in the banner above it is E pluribus unum. And that is emblazoned on the scroll there in the eagle's beak. Because it is the Latin motto that translates out of many one, symbolizing the unification of the states into a single nation. So it's amazing the fact that the freedom chicken, the bald eagle, was chosen because did you know that the bald eagle is actually native to North America only?
I did.
Yes.
Did you really?
Yep.
Yes.
Very good. Well, I mean, that's basically that. If you could bring up the next picture of the bald eagle, it is a very glorious bird. Now, some angles, that's not its angle right there, right? You're looking at it, you're like, it's a dopey looking thing. But you bring up the next picture, that one right there.
Don't mess.
Says a lot.
That's the one
says a lot of what it's.
That's the one that gets painted on the tail fin of an F-16.
Correct.
Not the first goofy one. Everyone's got a bad angle, especially when you answer your
right.
phone on a FaceTime call the first time and you're looking up, you're like, what's up, man? Oh, no,
Yeah.
That's not good. You really got to get it in there. But, the bald eagle, and a lot of people call it like the squeaky toy because it's a common misconception that, that classic eagle scream that you usually hear. That's dubbed. That is literally from a red-tailed hawk. If you play the next clip, you'll hear what the actual squeaker toy sounds like. Yep.
Get some volume control on that.
That's the bald eagle. That's literally how it calls, and that's what it is about, so to speak. So when did America and why did America choose it? The bald eagle was adapted to the national emblem on June 20th, 1782. Now, a bill was passed by Congress to sign into law on December 23rd, 2024, finally making the title of the bald eagle official. Congratulations, Congress. It only took you about 242 years to sign into something that was already recognized. Does anybody really want these people in charge of our healthcare?
Well, they had
took them that
long. They had to do something other than pass the SAVE Act. So that's what
really.
You got.
And enlighten me. Elaborate a little bit on that. Pass the Save Act.
Oh, God.
He was making a joke.
You're not familiar with the Save America Act?
I'm not familiar with the Save America Act.
Well, this is not the time to get into it, but Congress is not passing it. They are not passing it.
Anyways, well, I mean, you look at the eagle that historically symbolizes strength and power since the Roman time, right? Yeah, that's exactly what was on the Roman legionnaires'
That's
crest right there. Every time they went marching into battle to
Bald
conquer.
Eagle, Bald Eagle meets Cheech Marin.
It's more like Chong, Tommy Chong. That's what that looks like right there. I'm surprised.
Either way,
a little white around the beak and the dust from the, because he likes to party, so to speak. But no, the founders saw the bird
powder on the nostril.
Right, exactly. But the bird, the founders saw the bird in its soaring flight, the self-reliance, and the fierce independence that was like the perfect metaphor for America's chosen values, which is why they kind of suggested it at that point in time. And like I said, the shield on the Great Seal, it sits on the bird's chest, was held on the eagle's chest. The 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 colonies as well are joined closely by a blue top bar symbolizing Congress uniting the states, so to speak. So that was always fun right there. But then we get into other things like Congress and the Constitution, and the Constitution is constant. It's the skeletal framework of the United States, right? Like we got our amendments, and I'll go through them. The first two, at least, right? Because these are my favorite two. You got the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble.
I love that one myself. Here is where I think we need to start taking a firmer stance with that, where if your religion is not compatible with Western values, that doesn't mean you need to believe what a Christian believes or a Buddhist believes or anything like that. But if it is not compatible with Western values, and I'm thinking about something like Sharia law, then you should not be allowed to practice that in the United States. And I think that's where we need, as a country, to start drawing distinctions on certain religious practices, because while I've heard people say things like, well, the Constitution would never allow for Sharia law. Well, the Constitution also doesn't stop things like Sharia law.
Well, the Constitution in general talks about the things that the government is not allowed to do.
Exactly.
Right? As opposed to being prescriptive for what the government is going to do. The government can't infringe your rights. The government can't silence you. The government can't take away your guns, apparently.
Right. It limits the government's overreach at that point in time. And why? Because they just got done fighting against a tyrannical government, empire, kingdom, whatever you want to call it. And Scott the Robot in the comments says, when the founders wrote that, blasphemy was illegal. Right. I get it. But they wanted to make sure that people were able to speak what was on their mind without repercussions from the government itself, because they just got done doing that with England, where if they said anything negative about the crown, guess what? You're due for public lashing. You're due for public humiliation in the stocks, right? In a minimum, right? So they knew.
Most likely lose your head.
Yeah. So how free was it? It was pretty freeing, I would say, to the comment in Scott the Robot. So how free was it? It was very freeing for people to be able to say something, even on the steps of the Capitol building.
The Constitution,
on the White House law
doesn't have really anything to do with whether or not you can do blasphemy, right?
Right.
Those kinds of laws really come in more around a social cohesion. In other words, the Constitution is not dictating this. However, in this particular time period. You go into some town somewhere, and you speak a blasphemy. The
Right.
social structure and probably the laws of that town, or maybe
Sure.
that municipality or whatever it is, okay, then now you're getting in trouble.
Right. Now you're getting in trouble, but that document then prevents people from getting in trouble by that town or municipality during those
It
colonial
should.
times.
It
so to speak.
should. It doesn't.
Well, to a certain extent, it kind of does. I mean, name one instance where someone wasn't able to say freely what they wanted to say,
Well,
and then they were
what I
incarcerated by
mean
the government.
is that the document itself doesn't enforce anything, right? There has to
How
be.
so?
Well, what I mean is that there has to be humans who are willing to enforce or not enforce. In other words,
Sure.
if you go to some town somewhere and you speak blasphemy and you get thrown in jail for it, probably nobody's coming to your defense. Even though the Constitution says you can say whatever you want to say.
Sure.
But the social structure of the time, nobody's defending you.
Sure. Maybe not back then. How do you feel it sits now in this day and age?
Well, I mean, today, obviously, you would have somebody come and defend you, but at the same time, look, the last 10 years we've seen cancel culture.
Oh
right?
yeah, big time. Yeah, a very valid point.
People saying the wrong things, having the wrong opinions, getting kicked off social media, or losing their
Sure.
jobs, or whatever the case may be. And
But did they suffer repercussions from the government itself, or just from people just saying, "Well, we're not going to spend our money"?
In
with
some
Disney because you go
instances,
woke?
it's specifically government agencies that are patrolling social media and
The Freedom of Information Act.
and flagging flagging people with bad opinions. Now,
And
they're not supposed to do that.
I just want to state for the record, we all love America, so nobody, audit us, please. We're all patriots here.
In other words, what I'm trying to say is that the culture has to be willing to defend what the principles are within the Constitution. If the culture's not willing to defend those principles, then they don't
Sure.
get defended.
Sure.
If it's illegal to, be, out on Thursdays with a pie,
Right.
the
rule of thumb
in Podunk, Arkansas, or whatever it is.
Right.
If it's illegal to do that, and that's a law that's on the books, nobody's going to enforce that.
Right.
The local sheriff's deputy is not going to come up to you and be like, "Turn around, we're taking you to jail. You're out here
Right.
on Thursday with a pie." Right.
Sure.
So, like I said, there has to be a willingness, or the desire, or again, that social structure that says we're going to enforce this law versus we're not going to enforce that law.
Sure. But when we're speaking about speaking one's mind, regardless of the context or the content of what they say, like hate speech. Hate speech is something that people have been trying to get made illegal for many, many years. Now, there are things I know that you cannot say. You can't go into a theater and shout, "Fire!" And you can't call to violence to say, "I want everyone to rally together and go and delete this person," right? These are just examples, by the way. It's nothing that I hold
Sure.
personally to my heart. But those are things that you cannot say. You cannot do a call to violence, and you cannot make like empty threats, so to speak, right? So
Of violence, right?
Of violence, right? So there are limitations with free speech, sure, but is hate speech one of those things that you would then think that society would have to then be on board with, saying, "Oh no,
Here's
speech
the
is not
problem with
protected."
hate speech is essentially what somebody else doesn't like to hear, and that can
Right.
Sure.
mean anything,
Right.
know. And so trying to define what hate speech is just an exercise in fertility. I mean, I don't know that you're going
Did you
to
say
be able
fertility or futility?
to
I'll
futility.
take either one. Either answer is acceptable.
But I don't think that we're ever, nor should we ever, get to a point to where we're policing speech. Look how well that's
Right.
going over in the European countries right now, where people are being arrested
Right.
for social media.
posts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
do we really want a country that's doing that? Now, I know there's a handful of, retarded socialists out there and communists that would say, yeah, that's what I want.
Add
Okay,
that add
great.
that to the apology list.
Yeah, we'll start with you. That's right. I forgot the apologies this week. I apologize.
Mm.
We can
I
get to
apologize for
apologies after
nothing.
this. Yes. But yeah, I mean
Apologize.
that's ridiculous, and we should never get there.
Right. And, to finish up with peaceably assemble. So you can't riot. You can't destroy property, right? You can't start dumpster fires. Just peaceably assemble, right? You can air your grievances out, but you got to do it peacefully. And I really enjoy watching a lot of those old Maxine Waters videos where she's like, you need to get out there and get in the face of all these people, like really trying to, maybe not a direct call to violence, but inadvertently still trying to tell people,
It's pretty
assault them,
close.
get in their face. Like if you get in someone's face in a threatening manner and they take it as such, that's technically assault. They don't have
That's
to
correct.
touch you for it to be assault. So they can defend themselves at any way that they feel that they need to eliminate said threat.
That
And
is
then to
correct.
finish up, to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So that's the end of the First Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment, which is my ultimate favorite, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Ultimately, to summarize that, essentially, is the Second Amendment is there basically to support the First. You can say whatever you want, but you better have the means to back it up, because if someone doesn't like what you have to say, well, you have to have a way to defend yourself one way or another, and that shouldn't be infringed upon regardless. And it'll take me into my next topic in a minute, but what do you guys feel about that? Do you kind of feel the same way, or do you have a different take on that, so to speak, where the Second Amendment supports the First, or if it's just kind of a standalone?
I think
Good.
that in some regard, what you look at, what's interesting to me is you hear a lot of rhetoric today around protecting minorities and marginalized communities.
Sure.
And he's not marginalized.
Not at all. There's nothing minor about that. Jesus.
The First and Second Amendment actually are doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The idea that you can say whatever you want to say. Well, what speech are we protecting there? We're not protecting acceptable speech. Why?
Sure.
Because you don't have to protect acceptable speech.
Right. Because it's acceptable.
The protection is for the minority speech. The protection
stuff
is
you
for
don't want to hear.
The stuff that isn't popular. Right. Same thing with, shall not establish a religion. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be maybe a minority community or a minority person in a religion that maybe isn't a popular religion. We can't punish you for that. And it goes right then into the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment giving you the right to bear arms,
right,
is
big arms.
Big arms is the ability for someone who has no power. In other words, someone who's in the minority.
Yeah.
Someone who is not a government actor or agency.
Sure.
Someone who is just a guy on his farm. And here come, the bandits or whatever the case may be. You don't have to, the government is not going to be there to come and protect you. You're
sure. Please tell me these are AI generated, because if they're not, I'm really happy that these women are carrying firearms, because they should practice that Second Amendment as an American.
You have the ability, you have the right as a person in what is effectively a minority position, a weakened position, to have that ability to protect yourself. So the First and Second Amendment are actually really centered around the minority, the weak.
Sure. Would you say the minority and the weak, like landowners that border along Mexico down in Texas, where immigrants are coming onto their land and using it as a route in order to break the law, jump the border, and escape coming on their lands, do you think those landowners have the right to defend themselves because of trespassers, so to speak?
That's super specific. I'm not sure what you're getting at there.
So
I'm
if
just
they,
kidding. I'm just kidding. Listen, there's a lot of states in our country where if somebody is on your land,
right
now, different states have different laws,
sure,
right? But somebody on your land can be considered a threat, and
because you don't know
you
their
know,
intention.
Depending upon where you are, oftentimes you have to warn.
Right.
It's not just you're you're inside my fence line, pow. You know what I
You
mean?
either have a duty to retreat or you have a stand your ground, depending on where you are. And I agree that
Sure.
you are right about that. Well, to kind of piggyback off of that, Second Amendment has been under attack for a great many years, specifically in the most recent years. I dare say within the last 10 to 15 years, maybe even longer than that, depending on what state you're in. Some of the things that people like to argue, and I'm genuinely interested, Redbeard and Cigar Titan, on what you guys think about these, and I'd like to hear your rebuttal to these if you have one. The link to gun violence. Now, these pictures are so distracting. They're really good though, man. That's a beautiful.
I don't know
gun.
what you're talking about.
That's a beautiful gun. I will say that, but I mean, it doesn't look like an M4, but it might be an Armalite.
Speaking of rebuttals.
Oh.
So the link to gun violence, critics argue that the statistical correlation between high rates of gun ownership are linked directly. Sorry, I have another thing that popped up. I apologize. Did you guys hear me or did I blank out?
Yeah, no, we got you.
Okay, good. Critics argue that the statistical correlation between the high rates of gun ownership are linked and directly increased rates of homicide, suicide, and accidental shootings, just because you simply own a gun.
Nonsense.
What are your thoughts on that? Just because you own a gun, that all those categories are going to just instantly increase. What do you guys take on that?
Well, I think guns are known for just going off on their own. They're responsible for loading themselves and shooting themselves off. I mean, I can understand everybody's fear of guns. The guns are out there going wild right now. Guns Gone Wild.
Guns Gone Wild. It's a great show. They all go topless. They're like, "Oh, look at my magazine well."
Exactly. Yes.
Redbeard, what do you take on that one?
Oh, the thoughts in my head. I don't know what the statistics are specifically that you're citing, but when we take and we compare, I mean, you might be able to say that within a certain context, but when you take and compare gun violence in America from registered legal owners versus illegal guns that are out on the streets, there is not a comparison.
Right.
No, not even close.
So the correlation doesn't relate to causation is a kind of way to sum that up.
Of course not.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because, that's level-headed way of thinking, in my opinion, rather than people just saying, oh, video games cause people to be more violent in real life, specifically when they're playing Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty or anything of that nature. Video games have been under attack for a great many years, by the way, because of the violence that has been initiated by them. And how many lawmakers have tried to get video games of violence?
Maybe violent people are drawn to video games or these particular violent video games. Whoops.
Yeah,
it's a way to think about it.
People who have a propensity to violence.
The song made me violent. The game made me violent.
Yeah,
right. Everything else
ridiculous.
but you. Everything else but you.
And I'm not quoting actual stats here. I am just looking up from one topic to the next why people are so anti-gun. And these are just some of the basic arguments that they kind of come up. So I just kind of summarize them into a generalization to kind of help crunch down the time. So we're not sitting here all night talking about this, but it is a part of America, right? Like the Second Amendment. It's a really big deal, right? And the Second Amendment has been under attack for a great many years. So it's nice if we know what people are arguing against, we can kind of like prepare ourselves mentally to know like, well, this is why we have these things here, so to speak, right? Kind of prepping ourselves, priming the pump, as it were. So another one is mass casualty events, so to speak. So opponents that emphasize that the proliferation of high capacity and semi-automatic weapons allow perpetrators to inflict mass casualties in public spaces, schools, and workplaces before law enforcement can intervene. So again, we're looking at things where we have high capacity magazines that they tried to outlaw in states such as California. And how did that go?
Well, it was, I think, it was implemented. Any like 30 round capacity mags, I think, were at some point made illegal to sell and buy in California, and then that was overthrown. But then I think they got around it again, and then it was it's so hard to keep track of where they're at with all of this,
Right.
because the gun laws change so frequently. About this, about as much as everybody changes their underwear, the gun laws in California are changing until the Supreme Court steps in and says, no, stop. Then it's constantly going back and forth, whether it's in appeals courts or whether it's in the state Supreme Court, until it gets to the United States Supreme Court. And this, the United States Supreme Court says, hey, look, this is the law of the land. Quit messing around with it. This is where we're at. Nothing in California is going to change. I mean, we're slowly starting to see some changes out here as it pertains to things like our concealed carry permits, CCWs, because for years, California has made it almost impossible to obtain a CCW out here in California. And there was recently some Supreme Court decisions that were handed down in favor of them expediting CCWs for residents out here in California, because they deemed it unconstitutional with all of the ways they do it. They don't outright. That's the unique approach about California, is they oftentimes don't outright ban something. They just put up so much red tape and obstacles that it makes it almost CCW. So they can say, oh, well, no, in California, you can get a CCW. What they don't tell you is there's like a 3 or 4 year wait period. You have to go back in and then submit your application to get a CCW. It doesn't last forever. I think there's like a 5-year limit on it. It's crazy.
It's not illegal. It's just functionally impossible.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah. You have to prove a reason why you need one.
That was the big thing. Yes.
Here's
like, why do I need to prove a reason I need one? Like, what if I'm carrying mass amounts of cash? Does that not qualify?
Here's a little bit of a wrench in your question, which is,
go ahead.
Just a little bit of a wrench in your question, which is, it's simple to read the Second Amendment and say, it says right there, shall not be infringed. Fantastic, right?
Sure.
One of the things that I think a lot of people forget about, or maybe don't even know, is that the Constitution and the way our country was formulated, I forget who it was. It may have been Thomas Jefferson. Talked about how this framework is set up specifically for what he considered or called a moral nation, a moral people, right? And in the time, that's talking about, Western civilization, sort of kind of Christian-centric worldview, I guess. But he also talked about how this stuff wouldn't work if that ever changed, if we became an immoral nation. You couldn't, some of these things couldn't be adhered to because the way that it's structured, the reason that it's supposed to work, the sort of the bedrock that allows for it to work, is this moral nation. And I don't know that
we're getting very far away from that, Mr.
I don't know that we live. I don't know that we live in that nation.
Not
and
anymore.
So there's a challenge there, right?
sure.
You go, we like the Constitution. We want that to be abided by. It's designed to be for people who are striving to better themselves, people who are striving to love their neighbor,
Sure.
for people who are, you know what I mean? And then it just works.
If everybody abided by the law.
But when you have some of the problems that we have,
Right. So it's very interesting that you say that, because going on to the third,
and I don't know the
final-
answer. I don't know that the answer is to say, oh, ban this or do that or whatever.
Right.
That's not necessarily what I'm getting at. It's just
No, I get it. And these are just
there's-
typical arguments that people use against the Second Amendment to try to, say, well, we need to update
Of
this.
course.
We need to
Yeah.
we need to change this, right? Because, well, and another argument, let's go with Scott the Robot in the comments there. It says, when they wrote the Second Amendment, people owned warships and cannons. Yeah, get it.
Yep.
They owned warships and cannons, but guess what? That was the firearms of their time. And one
That's
of the
the other
things
side
that
of the argument.
another side of the argument where they argue against the Second Amendment. They say, well, when it was written, they just used muskets.
Right.
You had a muzzle loader. You had to pour in the right amount of powder, put the shot in, then the wadding, take the ramrod, shove it down the barrel, plunge it, put it up, refeed it, open up the flintlock area, and then pour just the right amount of powder in to get the sparks, so that way you could shoot. A really well-timed soldier back in the day could get off 3 shots in a minute. 3 shots in a minute, right? And they're arguing the fact that we don't need anything that has high capacity. They can get more. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter, because it says the right to own guns or firearms shall not be infringed. It doesn't matter the firearms. And people say, well, they didn't have machine guns back then. But they did, in fact. And I will present to you my third and final argument against that whole thing. The puckle gun. Have either of you heard of this? The puckle gun.
No. How is that spelled?
Puckle, or you can call it the defense gun. It was invented by
probably
a man.
heard of it, but it doesn't immediately come in.
Scott the Robot goes to say, I want to worship. Guess what? I do too, because I want to sail the 7 seas like a scallywag pirate as well.
That's right,
That's kind of a
that's
dream
right.
of mine, to go down to the Caribbean and search for pirate gold. That's what I
Make
would love to
everybody
do.
walk the plank.
Exactly, right? That would be just my dream right there if I could do that. But it was invented by James Puckle. There it is. That's the bad boy right there. That bad boy, guess what? It was invented in 1718, and he lived from 1667 to 1724. Well, 1724, by a British inventor and lawyer and writer, is one of the earliest weapons to be referred to as a machine gun. If you look at the date when it was patented in 1718, that's still quite a ways away between 1775, wouldn't you say? It's a machine gun. Big and clunky, but still a machine gun that could fire off multiple rounds, more so than a musket, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
So the idea, the patent, the idea for faster firing firearms, weapons, was there. It may not have been small and compact and as efficient as it is today, but the idea was still there. And if the idea was still there, then the Second Amendment, you could say, was written regardless of what type of weapon
the
you were
Second
writing it for.
Amendment was written to provide protection for the people against a tyrannical government. That's what it was
Right.
written for.
And
Right,
you
like
can
I said,
have the
is
firearms.
for you as an individual, as a minority person with
Sure.
no power.
Right.
Correct.
And I am an individual person with no power. I have none, but I can own all the firearms that I want to. And I really hate this argument that a lot of lefties come up and say, well, you don't need it, so why do you have it? Well, I have it just in case. So I'm of the mindset where I'd rather have something and not need it than need it and not have it. For
You
instance,
don't need to be a douchebag, but you still are. I mean,
right, exactly. I don't suspect myself starting a kitchen fire, but I still have an extinguisher in my house just in case.
Right. Well, it's
Right.
sort of a moot argument anyway. Really boils down to more of a talking point, because it's
Right.
when a person wants to kill a bunch of people, they're going to find a way to do that.
Right. I mean, you look at
Absolutely.
you look at the UK
are we
right
gonna
now.
we're gonna ban cars? We're gonna ban knives?
You look at the UK. Like, there's
Right.
been a serious increase in the number of stabbing related
Right.
crimes out in the UK.
Knife.
Can't get a gun, go get a knife.
Yeah,
look,
you could
how-
go to
how-
Bed
how
Bath and
many-
Beyond.
how many car attacks have we seen in the last 10 years? Somebody drives their car into some kind of a street carnival or a parade or, whatever it is. You could argue that that's even more catastrophic and deadly than somebody with an AR-15. I mean, it's not good. It's not good that people with, that people who are having problems or whatever, and they go and take that out on others that are, not even involved, and they're just killing random people. I don't like that. I don't want that.
It just means they're shitty people.
But whether you have an AR-15 or not, that's not gonna stop you.
Look, there's been a lot, and you could probably look it up if you wanted to, but there's a lot of cases where people have been taking acid, muriatic acid. It's a pool chemical that you could use to balance pH, and they splash it on people's faces in subways, on trains, buses, happening all throughout Europe.
Anything can be a weapon in the right hands.
People who want to do damage are going to do damage.
Yep.
Right. That's exactly the point. So you can argue. I mean,
and that's why you need an AR-15 so that you can stop them.
Well, I don't like people when they say, well, this doesn't need to be around anymore because they didn't write it for this purpose. Well, I mean, kind of they did. If you think about it, here's the puckle gun. It's an exact interpretation of what they knew was potential for firearms even back then. How many decades before? Even before the French and Indian
defend
Wars.
Yourself.
Right. It's the right to defend yourself. You have it. You shouldn't go out and blazing up a Jason Aldean concert, obviously, but there are sick people out there that need to get right in their heads. And that's what it comes down to is the person itself, not the instrument. A lot of the things that I've heard people say, well, if guns kill people, then spoons made people fat and erasers or pencils make people make mistakes when they write. And I get that. It's a fun argument and everything, but I mean, this is an interesting one. So put this one in your back pocket. If people say, well, they wrote it during times of muskets and cannons. Well, guess what? They had the puckle gun. Here you go. You're welcome for that.
Well, they also make the argument that assault rifles should be illegal. Well, what's an assault rifle? Most people say, oh, they always go AR-15. AR does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite, I think, is what it stands for.
You are 100% correct. Armalite rifle. And it's not even a weapon of war because the military has never used an Armalite.
That's correct.
But back when I went through weapons training, M16s made by Colt literally had 3 selector switches. One was semi-automatic. Then the next one was 3-round burst. And then there was the third one, which was the fully automatic one. Okay. Other than safety. Right. Well, guess what? None of the guns that you could buy today, whether it's a civilian mil-spec M4, have fully automatic or 3-round burst. It has safe or fire, and that fire is semi-automatic. Right? That's it. That's all you have, and that's even with a mil-spec M4 by Colt, who does give the military their weapons of war, so to speak. I think people just look at this generalized black carbon plastic poly weapon and go, oh, that's dangerous. Right. It's a glorified 22 round. That's all it is. There's just more charge behind it. That's it.
Well, this is how you get people to support your political agenda is, you point to the scary thing and tell them and tell them that you're going to protect them from the scary thing.
Yep.
I'm going to protect you from all the scary things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, no, you have the right to protect yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And Scott the Robot goes on to say, anytime I'm in trouble, I want a good guy with a gun. I agree. Scott the Robot.
I honestly believe that if we made it,
that too.
I believe if every state in the country made it easier for its citizens to freely open carry weapons, you would see far less people with guns doing stupid things because they know, damn, anyone anywhere can give me immediate consequences.
Right.
And so people would think twice about doing something stupid like that.
Well, look, there's plenty of instances where somebody who's, a good guy with a gun stops something bad from happening.
Sure.
Maybe not highly reported.
What the implement of destruction is that's being used can be used for bad and it can be used for good. It doesn't have its own intrinsic moral comparison. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's just a thing.
It's just a thing. But guess what? If you are religious and you happen to be of the Christian persuasion, what did Cain kill Abel with?
A rock.
Right. Malice was in his heart and in his mind. Jealousy. It didn't matter the instrument. He found something, and it was a rock. It was something that was naturally formed over hundreds of thousands of millions of years.
You'll have to go
Smash
back
his
and
head.
read that because for some reason or another, I thought it was a swizzle stick.
It was a swizzle stick. He pulled out his Glock 19 Gen 2.
That's right.
But that's kind of what we have when it comes to arguments about the Second Amendment and against the Second Amendment, which really just chaps my nipples so bad. But that's kind of one of the things. But in current news, the Justice Department announced on Wednesday, just this past Wednesday, that it had filed lawsuits against 2 states for the department alleged or unconstitutional restrictions on sales of certain types of guns. Can you guess which states?
California, New York,
Nope. California, you got one. What's the other one?
Washington,
Chicago
Nope.
or Chicago, the state of Chicago, Illinois.
Illinois.
No, not Illinois, not Washington. It was the state of Virginia. Surprisingly enough.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
They've
Virginia.
been,
That's where Yorktown is. Isn't that crazy
Yeah.
how it all circles back to
It's
where
what
the
happens
country
when you
kind of
don't
all
protect your
started.
rights.
Isn't that crazy? All of a sudden, and they're suing over the newly enacted law that restricts the sale of some firearms with a trigger that could be modified into a machine gun convertible pistol. And the California law went into effect on July
that's,
1st
I
of this
think
year.
partly why they banned Glocks out or a certain type of Glock. So now Glock has to make a different type of gun to sell in California because there's a piece inside of a Glock that can be used to make, I think, like a fully automatic. Yeah,
it has to fire Nerf bullets.
exactly.
Exactly, Nerf bullets. But that's one of the things. And in the statement that the acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, I think is his name, Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, said that the Constitution is not a suggestion, and the Second Amendment is a sacred right belonging to all Americans, even those in California. I like how he threw that little, even those in California.
Even those assholes.
Let me just ask you both this question. Does state laws, because they have the right to govern themselves, right? States do individually.
To a certain extent, sure.
To a certain extent.
State laws cannot supersede federal law.
Boom. That's exactly what I was going to ask. They cannot supersede federal law, right? So when do we get to that point where the states individually are crossing the line?
California is a habitual line crosser.
Yeah, I think we're long past that. And they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. They're going to have some kind of a legal challenge from here until the rest of forever.
Exactly. I am a fan of always hearing this. It hasn't happened yet, but I've always heard that President Trump is going to try to enact a national carry law, like a license. Like if you have this license, you can carry in all 50 states.
I think that's great. I'd love to see. I don't think it's necessary. I think the Second Amendment already says that we should have the right to do that. But I mean, if this,
it sounds like political rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, if this were to take away, states' ability to complicate things, then sure, I'm all for it. But I don't know. To Redbeard's point, I think it's just political speak at this point.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
And I agree. I think it is just political speak. It's one of those talking points that gains him favor with people that he's trying to keep the support of, so to speak, for his presidency. I mean, he's not running again, as far as I know. But it would still be something awesome because I live in the great state of Arizona, where we're a constitutional carry state. I can carry open or I can carry concealed, and I don't need a permit for either one. I love that. Why? Because I'm an American. I have the Second Amendment as of the Constitution that basically provides me protection. But what happens when I go to California? Oh no. You better empty that gun, put it in a locked case, and separate the ammo completely. Like I'll have time in a fleeting moment someone trying to mug me. Now, granted, I understand the chances of me being mugged broad daylight or nighttime are like being hit by lightning. It could happen, but the chances
It
of it are
depends on where you're
probably
at.
slim.
I'd say
Right.
those odds increase more the closer you get to places like LA or the
Sure.
heart of San Bernardino.
Right. And I agree with you on that one 110%. So do I have time really to go, hold on, let me get my key, unlock that box, open it up, take the firearm out, go to my glove box or my center console where it's completely separate if it's in the same cab, and then load and go, okay, commence with mugging.
Ready?
I can now defend myself.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. I shouldn't have to do that. That's the point of the Second Amendment. I should not be infringed no matter where I go because I'm an American. I have rights. And that concludes this topic, gentlemen.
All right. Well, hey, if you are just joining us or this is your first time hanging out with us over here, you have found Smoke Signals and Side Quests. We are a podcast that airs every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do not forget to like and subscribe down below. We'd love for you to leave some comments. Let us know what you might like to see discussed on a future episode. If you want just the excuse me, if you want just the audio version of this, feel free to head on over to Amazon Music or Spotify and check us out there. Now, gentlemen, we are running up on a little bit of time here. So in the interest of making sure that we get through all of our American related topics today,
sorry.
a couple of things. Oh, you're good. It was a great topic. I did want to give Redbeard Wright a chance to go through our apologies since our illustrious co-host here, Cigar Titan, forgot to mention that at the start of the show.
It is maybe a little bit of an abbreviated list. I just wanted everybody to know that our blue-haired HR lady went ahead and handed this over to me. Make sure that we go ahead and apologize to anybody who may have offended during our last episode. And those people may include people who like New Disney, fat wenches with pie, taxpayers, used car salesmen, Jack Sparrow, Huntington Beach, people who work at the people who work for the homeless industrial complex, the Vibes, the DNC, the RNC, people whose IQ is below 100. Looking at you, Somalia. Orange County, people who job their love, real FBI agents, Reese Witherspoon, TV actors, Lo Pan, anyone anyone living in California, and Kamala Harris, and all of her other friends who are mentally handicapped. We
I appreciate that, Redbeard.
Apologize.
Yes. Well, like I said, we're going to keep this train moving. We had a segment cut out to talk a little bit about some news that dropped this week with Sony and some AI stuff that it relates to video games. But we're gonna save that for next week, and we're gonna go ahead and jump into our segment that we lovingly like to call Retro Hail Riffraff.
Well, gentlemen, in loving honor of the 4th of July, we are going to have a little bit of a movie game. We are going to take a look at some movies that are quintessentially American. In other words, these movies would not really even exist were it not for the founding of America. Okay?
I will say, Redbeard, I absolutely love that you're like a walking thesaurus of just different words that, you know, I don't hear too often.
You like words?
I like words.
Quintessentially?
I like quintessentially. Now you were throwing out some really bangers last week as well.
Okay.
So keep that coming. I love it.
Okay. A lot of big words like watermelon.
We gotta get some
a lot of syllables.
Some 2-syllable words in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at some movies, and I'm gonna give you guys some lines from said movies. They're gonna start out difficult. You can try to guess. If you guess, you are kicked off the podcast if you're wrong. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and let's get into it.
I'm out of here.
Well, see you later.
I may or may not be getting buzzed. I apologize.
We've got Absolutely American. You guys ready for round one?
Yes.
Take a look. What do we have? If there's anything you need, I won't be far away.
Ooh, stumping me with the first one.
The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston. Am I kicked off the podcast?
No, unfortunately. You know what? We'll give you another shot, though. Let's see what we've got
He's
here.
already gone. There's nothing we can do. Sorry about that.
I just wanted to tell you I love you. I'll be right here when you get back.
I'm still sticking with the Bodyguard.
You're still going with the Bodyguard? Do I have to do the thing again?
I don't know.
Said it was
They said it was $1 million wound, but the army must keep that money.
Oh, I get it. It's Tom Hanks.
It's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, baby.
And we have this movie called Forrest Gump, which is a full-on ride through American history.
Gary Sinise and
love
Lieutenant
that.
Dan Band. Rock the fuck
That's
on.
the most outstanding answer I've ever heard.
This was a great movie. If you haven't seen Forrest Gump, it really is a good movie. You got to see.
If this
Forrest
is
Gump.
on, it's hard to not watch.
It's one of those movies, right?
Yeah.
And another one of those movies that I love that's like that is Tombstone. Like
Sure.
anytime the movie Tombstone comes on, I cannot change the channel. I'm watching it.
You
I
just have to
remember
watch. Doesn't matter where it's at.
That's
I
right.
remember going to see this on opening day with my dad, and he cried at the end of the film.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know why. Yeah. I don't think he's retarded, so I don't know if he identified with the character. So I don't.
It may have
get
had
it.
something.
But
it
he
may
did.
have had something
He
to
did
do
cry.
with Haley Joel Osment dying of AIDS. Is that right? That's what happened in this movie?
AIDS.
No.
Everyone has AIDS.
Moving on, round 2. All right, you guys. I hate to break up this little party, but there are still a lot of bad guys out there.
Young Guns.
No. If there's a world left when this is over, I'd like to buy you a beer.
How come he didn't get kicked the fuck off?
Well, I made an attempt, but the button failed.
Damn it.
There it is. There it is. That was failure. Get out. Wait, no, hold on. We'll give you 3 strikes.
What is that? War of the Worlds?
No, you are incorrect. Let me go ahead and give you one more clue, which I think will probably seal the deal.
Okay.
I'm so lonely. So
Oh my
lonely,
God.
So
2004.
lonely and sad alone.
I still don't know what this
2004.
is.
Team America, World Police,
Oh.
Ted Parker, Matt Stone. As soon as you said that last one, I knew exactly what it was. Love it. It's such a great movie. We quote this daily in my house.
Yes. Yes, we do. Let's see what we've got here.
Come on, Hans, you're busting my bar.
We are going to need a montage. Preferably another montage of some ladies holding some guns.
Yeah.
And we've got round 3. Same way they built the pyramids and the Great Wall of China.
I got nothing.
Me neither.
This one's a little bit tricky. You may not have seen it in a little while.
He says after he reads A.
Hey, it was a big movie. Here's to the men who did what was considered wrong in order to do what they knew was right.
I know exactly what it is. Think, Cigar Titan, do you have it?
I don't know.
Think Nicolas Cage.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Some straight up deadpan. There's not a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. What's this
Oh.
movie?
I know. Oh God. What?
Come on,
I know
buddy.
which one it is.
Come on, say it. Say it.
gotta
So
love
don't even
Nicolas
don't even
Treasure
Cage.
look at it till
something,
he says
right?
it.
Treasure something.
You gotta love Nicolas Cage's just straight up deadpan performance.
National Treasure.
in everything. That is correct. National Treasure.
It's Valley Girl 20 years later.
What do we do about her? I've got some duct tape in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, that won't be necessary. She won't be in any trouble. Promise you won't be in any trouble.
I promise.
Oh,
Can't take
I don't
their
think
word
I've
for
ever seen
shit.
this movie.
I saw this movie one time, and it's not a bad movie. I just think
like
it's
it.
not one of those that necessarily like calls you back to it. I guess, but
Sure.
they made like 3 of these, didn't they?
No, well, maybe, I don't know. But I know they definitively made 2. The second one was garbage. The first one I actually really liked, and I'm sure I can stream it on Disney Plus.
Okay. Fun watch with the family. This next
Yes.
movie may or may not be so. Let's take a look. What do we have? The hard work of so many, sacrificed by the disrespect of a few. Them sounds like fighting words.
Nope, got nothing.
I need more.
Nothing there. A little more. All right, let's see what we got. Then say I'm stupid and I'm about to get hit in the nuts.
Yeah, again, still drawing a blank on this one.
You having a hard time?
I am.
Is
I
this
want to
the
say
Sand-
Boondock Saints, but I don't think it's
Boy.
right.
No,
The Sandlot.
No, it is not the Sandlot. That's two, buddy. That is two.
God.
Let's see. Maybe this will give it away. In West Canaan, Texas, there's another society which has its own laws. Football is a way of life.
R.I.P. James Vanderbeek.
Oh man, that one hurt a little bit. He was too young.
Dude, that
Yeah,
one
he
hurt
was.
a lot. That
What's
one
this
hurt a lot.
movie?
That's totally from our youth, man.
Varsity Blues.
Yes, sir.
Varsity Blues. This young man right here.
My
Varsity
favorite
Blues.
scene. My favorite scene is when Scott Conn looks down in his jockstrap during football practice and goes, "What the fuck is that?"
I actually
some
did
sort
see
of
this one
growth.
in the movie theater. This was a great movie.
It was.
Texas high school football, gentlemen, is
It's a big
an
deal.
extremely uniquely American thing.
For being another teen movie.
I think it's a pig.
And you got
James
two
Van-
actors in there that are no
two
longer
actors
with
that
us.
died. Yeah.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Now we're getting old.
Yeah.
And you're not talking about Ollie Larder. I think it was just her career that died.
Yeah.
12 Days of Christmas or some crap made for Hallmark TV movie.
Yeah.
This one you'll watch every so often. It's not a bad flick.
This is a good one.
Let's see what else we got here in Absolutely American. Gentlemen, what are your intentions? If you really know this movie, you'd know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I
No?
don't know.
No.
All right, let's
I'm
try
drawing a
this one.
blank.
This
Big
one
old
may
fat blank.
give it to you. Well, don't you worry, honey. If they could get a washing machine to fly, my Jimmy could land it.
I feel like I know even less now.
Oh, what?
It went from bad to worse.
Yeah.
So no guesses. Nobody wants to risk incurring another strike.
I got
No,
nothing.
I want to make sure our podcast lasts till the end here because if I
We're
go,
not-
the
we're not
whole thing
giving up.
shuts down.
Oh,
Trying to
all right.
stretch this out.
Well, let's give this away for you guys. We've never lost an American in space. We're sure as hell not going to lose one on my watch. Failure is not an option.
Was this the one with Bruce Willis?
Oh boy.
Armageddon.
Oh boy. Don't say that.
Armageddon.
Don't say that. Oh.
Oh, it's not Armageddon.
What have you guys been
Oh.
doing?
Nothing.
This actually is another movie starring Tom Hanks that you probably will
Is
watch
this Apollo
shitting me?
13?
if it's
Apollo
on.
13. Damn it.
Okay.
As soon as you said the Hanks.
I knew it was one of those rocket ship movies.
95 was a
This
good
is
year for
Houston.
Tom Hanks.
Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem.
That sounds like Woody.
That's an amazing movie.
I don't think I've seen Apollo 13 either.
Are you dumb?
That's a good one. Yeah. Bro, it's got
going
Kevin
on?
Bacon in it.
Stupid.
What are you talking about?
It's got
I'm
Kevin
stupid.
Bacon.
Oh,
Who's making bacon?
Kevin,
Kevin is.
go watch Apollo 13.
Yeah, watch
All right.
Here we go.
it. Yeah.
I don't know if I ought to go sailing down the hill with nothing between the ground but my brains and a piece of government plastic.
I already know what this is. That line right there gave it away. It's the sledding scene in a famous
No,
movie
no, it's
with
not. No,
Clark W. Griswold. Clark W. Griswold. I know it from that one.
I'm sorry. This is our family's first kidnapping.
Don't you be dim, Clark.
Come on, Aunt Bethany.
Mm.
Is your house on fire, Clark?
Hey, Griswold, where do you think you're going with that? Where do you think you're going to put that big tree? I can't read today.
This
A
is
tree
my
that big.
This is my fiance's all-time favorite Christmas movie.
Yep. What is it? Say.
Oh, and just
It is.
because, go ahead.
Christmas Vacation.
Just because we talking about sledding on the government plastic, we've got a little bit of this for you.
My dad, when he watches that sled scene with Clark, every time loses his shit, and his laughter is so contagious. We all start laughing because he's laughing. Sides hurt, tears streaming every time. I kid you not.
Well, let's see what Clark Griswold has to say about what's going on here on Christmas Vacation.
Have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby
Yep.
tap
Dance with Danny
Oh.
K.
And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's gonna find the
Jolliest
jolliest
bunch
bunch
of
of this
assholes
side of the
this
nut
side
house.
of the nut house.
He's got a little bit of a mouth on him if you want to watch this movie with your kids, but
Clark
Goodness
at that point in
gracious.
time had
It's a
lost his
classic.
mind.
it's a classic. Let's see what else we've got here, boys. Once a place touches you like this, the wind never blows so cold again.
Cliffhanger starring Sylvester Stallone.
That's at least two.
Well, guess you got to
least
kick us
two.
both out.
Let's see what we've got here. At least he is not a book burner, you Nazi cow.
Oh, I know what this is. Kevin Costner.
Yes,
Kevin Costner film.
sir.
So great. So great.
Kevin Costner.
1980s.
If you build it-
89.
He will come.
All over your face.
I know the movie.
All of your base are belong to us.
That's
not-
right.
Think of ghost baseball players.
Somebody.
Field of Dreams.
There you go.
I've never seen this movie either.
Oh,
Dude, it's
come
so
on, man.
good. 1989. I was partially right. I thought it was 87, 89, something like that.
And
Such a good. It's like him playing baseball with his dead dad. So great.
and that actor is also no longer with us.
He winked at me.
Kevin Costner's still alive.
wink, kid.
Not Kevin Costner, no.
Ray Liotta. James Earl Jones.
Ray Liotta,
They're both-
correct.
They're both dead.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right.
He played
This is
Terrence
fun.
Mann.
What are you guys doing? I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
Star Wars.
Captain
Hmm.
America.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Captain America too.
You're gonna go with Captain America. Well, let's
can do
see.
this all
The
day.
serum amplifies everything inside.
100%
So,
Captain
good. You know
America.
what? You guys have like 500
Captain
points
America.
now. You've redeemed yourself from all of your failures from before. Here we go. We've got Captain America.
I feel like firing my pistol in the air right now, but I can't because I got a roof over my head.
Oh boy, oh boy.
God, 2011.
That's a winner.
Jesus. Where
It
did
is
time
crazy.
go?
Oh, of course you can, of course. But unfortunately, I am on a tight schedule.
You know,
Sounds like a German
quick
porn.
quick bit of trivia here. I don't
Yeah.
know if either of you know this. Do you know how many movies there are currently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? This is
Too fucking
excluding television and all of the spin-offs they did with like streaming services and all that.
37.
37
count?
is correct.
What? Jesus, I didn't even get a chance. All right, fuck
Yep.
it. Whatever.
No, what's the real number?
Yes, 37 is the real number.
You didn't even
No.
know. You just guessed. You
No,
got it
it's
right.
not.
Yes.
That's not the real number.
What is it?
I don't know.
What,
Bum,
I'm
bum,
telling you, it's
bum.
37.
That makes me angry.
That's a good guess, dude.
Yeah, 5,000 points for me, winning.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Did y'all see the size of that chicken?
Young Guns.
It's
I
true.
knew it as soon as you said it. Young Guns. Y'all see-
You gotta be
Don't,
handy
don't.
with the steel if you know what I mean.
I'm a pugilist.
Regulators, mount up. That's right. Young Guns, boys.
I lived and breathed this movie when I was a kid. I was fascinated with all things Billy the Kid. I learned everything about New Mexico, where he was buried, where he was allegedly shot, everything.
Do you think Charlie Sheen maybe has a little
Has
bit
AIDS?
of a chip
Yes.
on his shoulder that Emilio was the star of this movie?
Yeah, because fucking Charlie Sheen's character, Dick, got fucking axed when they were trying to kill that bushy Bill Roberts or something like that.
Well, in all
in the
fairness,
outhouse when he
too,
got shot.
Emilio Estevez started his movie career and had already started taking off before Charlie Sheen got his big break in Ferris Bueller.
Sure. I think Charlie got the last laugh, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did end up with AIDS, so I don't know.
He was winning.
You know, sir, I do admire you, and I sure would like to touch the gun that's going to kill Billy the Kid.
Great movie.
You know your Iron Boy.
Great movie.
Such a good movie.
All right. This last one, you guys are not going to get it. So I'm just going to preface this by saying
I don't like it when you start that like that. You're not going to get this. You guys suck.
Oh, it is. This movie is funny as hell, but it is somewhat lesser known. And I think it maybe just came out in a time where maybe the comedy didn't land. It's one of those movies that you watch a second time. Like you watch it the first time, you're like, haha, that gave me a chuckle. And then you watch it again and you're like, okay, like that joke landed this time around. I mean, I didn't hear it the first time, but let's take a look.
Do it.
Freaking beauty queens blowing chunks everywhere.
And I already know what this is. I'm not going to say it, but I know what it is. Is this starring Kirsten Dunst?
It is. It is starring Kirsten Dunst and Denise Richards and Kirstie Alley and a couple other well-known actors.
You're just good to
Cigar
be
Titan.
true.
You know what this is?
Interview with a Vampire.
You have not seen this movie.
Can't take my eyes off you.
Boys, we're done. Oh wait, no, you had extra points because of guessing the other movie. Okay,
That's
You'd
right.
be
We're
like
okay.
heaven to touch.
Oh, stop it. Excuse me, Miss Penthouse 98. Put your knees together. I could drive a boat show in there.
I liked how you did the accent too. Really well done, sir.
I only got it on the second half. The first bit was shaky.
It's okay. I give you credit. Full credit.
So, Cigar Titan, have you ever seen a movie set in Wisconsin about beauty queens starring Kirsten Dunst?
No.
Where she wanted to be
Well,
like
then you're not
her
going to know
idol.
what this is. I chose
Go
Mount
ahead.
Rushmore because I live in a country where you can take an ugly old mountain and put faces on it. And that makes me proud to be an American.
Kirsten Dunst, her idol in this movie was Diane Sawyer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I'm impressed. I wasn't sure. I watched the preview for this movie the other day on YouTube, and
Are
I
you
was
serious?
like, that looks horrible. That looks like a terrible movie. Just the way that the preview was on the trailer, it was bad.
Wild
I remember
Things?
seeing this. No. I remember seeing this movie in Edward Cinema at the Ontario Mills with Scott back in the day.
With who?
An old friend from high school.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a queer. All right.
Yeah.
This movie is
Loser.
called Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I've definitely never seen this.
So great.
I'm not even sure if I've heard of this.
Ellen Barkin was her mom, and in that explosion that happened, a beer can fused to her hand.
Okay, I remember that
It
scene
was
where
so
she had
great.
the Mount Rushmore on her head. I remember
Yeah.
that. I've definitely
was
never
so
seen
good.
the movie though.
Allison Janney was, I think, her aunt or her mom's best friend.
Oh, Kirstie Alley's no longer with us either, man.
No.
Yeah.
Kirstie
Yeah.
Alley. I keep calling her Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley. She's been in a lot of great movies.
She has.
I don't think she's appreciated for some of that.
She was
she took
definitely
over-
an underrated actress for sure. I mean, she parlayed a lot of her movie stuff into the TV. You know, she was
Yeah.
doing stuff on TV, and then for years she was on Cheers. You know,
Cheers. That's where I first saw her.
Well, I think
She took over for
typically
what's her
was-
face.
She was typically cast maybe as more of like a comedic actress, right?
right?
But what's the movie with her and Tim Allen, and they go to the Amish community and they're like hiding out. The name is escaping me, but it's such a good movie.
It is a really good movie, yeah. Because their accountant did something, and the IRS is now on the look for them, so they have to go on the lam, and they live in an Amish community, and they hate each other because they're really like rich, elitist type of people.
Right, they're like right in the middle of a divorce.
Yeah, they find themselves coming back to love, living the simple farming life. Yes, God, I have to look it up because I can't remember.
Well, in any case, boys, I think you did okay, but you did still lose. So. Hey!
Well, and real quick, now, Redbeard, were you taking a guess earlier when I asked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
That was an absolute guess. I pulled that number out of...
Do you see there? I went and pulled this up for you.
Screen sharing.
That nobody's going to believe. Nobody's going to buy it. There's not a chance. There's no way that I just grabbed that number, threw it out there, and it was correct.
A great shot in the dark, though.
I have never won that game where they put the jelly beans in the jar and you're supposed to like figure out how many jelly beans are in the jar and then you win a Lamborghini. Never have I won that game.
By the way, Scott the Robot hit the nail on the head with the Kirstie Alley and Tim Allen.
Richer or Poorer, yes.
Richer or Poorer.
Yes.
So great. It's a good movie.
Awesome movie.
And the Look Who's Talking movies.
Yeah.
To think 1997 was almost 30 years ago.
I was with
next
John
year.
Travolta. Yeah.
And Bruce Willis was the voice of the baby, wasn't he?
Originally. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that was great, gentlemen. We are coming up on time here. So any final thoughts for this ultra super patriotic holiday? I just want to say, I personally feel so fortunate to live in such a great country at probably the best time to be alive and to celebrate America's 250th birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it. We missed, just by a smidge, we missed the bicentennial back in 76. Yep. But we're here for the big 250. And there is not another country on the face of this planet that is better than America, that offers more than America. You can literally do anything in this country. And I really think that we need to start getting back to having teachers become more patriotic, having students really fully understand the history of America. There's always going to be some ugly things, regardless of what country you're talking about. I mean, history is full of ugly things, but at the end of the day, you're left with a country that is just absolutely incredible, that really does provide opportunities that most of the world can only dream of, and that's why there are so many people trying to come to America, to get into America, because we are the greatest country in the world. But I'd love to hear a couple of your final thoughts, Redbeard. I'll pass it over to you.
You know what? I don't have anything really to add to that. Okay. I think you said it. I think you hit the nail on the head. I just want to go ahead and say that I feel entirely blessed, right? To have been born in this nation, to live in this nation, and most of all, to be on the same podcast with Mr. Glenn Beck. Go ahead and take us out, bud.
One of us, I was trying to upload all those pictures when he was talking about the Second Amendment to get him to break. My goal now for every episode is to try and get Sergeant Grumpy Pants to break. We can give him a quick second here to recover.
I've heard that, or Greg Gutfeld. That's the truth I'm with. Oh my God. What now?
Do you have anything to add?
We're giving the final word to you, sir.
Oh my
Take
God.
us out. Talk about America.
You know what? I love America. And if you don't, then get the hell out.
Get the
I'm literally quoting Tom Cruise's character from the movie Born on the 4th of July. Listen, if you think things are so bad here, literally go to any other country and you will find out exactly why people think that we as Americans are so entitled. Because we have so many freedoms. We have so many things put into place that protect us, our rights. And that is something I think that people take for granted on a daily basis.
We have air conditioning
every damn day. We have
That's
we
true.
have air conditioning. Look at the videos that Cigar Titan posted last time where he's talking about all these foreigners coming over here for the World Cup that are like, this place is great. Every time I traveled overseas and I was deployed or I was stationed PCS wise over in Italy or England or wherever, you don't have 24-hour convenience of being able to just go into any Walmart and just wander around. You don't have to buy anything. You just go in there and walk around for whatever reason. You don't have that overseas. You don't have freedom of speech. You don't get to carry a firearm to defend yourself. And guess what? There's a lot of crime that does happen overseas. I don't care what people say in Japan, Italy, Germany. Crime still happens. But if you don't have the great equalizer, specifically for women, I'm a big proponent of women being able to carry firearms to protect themselves.
My wife has her emotional support shotgun.
Which identifies as a toaster. I mean, one way or another, there are just so many things that we as Americans take for granted. You really need to expand upon and broaden your horizons by leaving the borders of your country of birth and experience it. And then when you come back, you'll realize, wow, shit's not that bad here. It's actually pretty amazing. I'll leave you with that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is going to conclude our super ultra patriotic episode number 3. You have found Smoke Signals and Side Quests. For more content like this, be sure to go over to YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications every week when we go live at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also catch us over on the audio version of Amazon Music and Spotify if you don't want to see these 3 beautiful faces, or maybe you're just driving in the car, you're sitting in traffic on the way to work, kids are screaming in the back. Maybe your wife is, giving you the stink eye. I don't know. Pop on some Smoke Signals and Side Quest, turn the volume up to 11 and tune all that out. That's what we're here for. But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Looking forward to next week's episode. I hope everybody has an awesome 4th of July. America is the greatest country on this planet.
Happy birthday, America.
Bingo.
Take care, everyone.
Be safe.
Love you.